All right, good. So in this week's Torah portion, we have, that's right, Shemini, thank you, everyone. We have two references, two things, which are about the middle of the Torah. There's two middles of the Torah that we have in this week's Torah portion. We have the middle of the letters of the Torah, we have the middle of the words of the Torah. The middle of the letters of the Torah are where the Torah is just talking about all the kosher and non-kosher animals. The Torah says in chapter 11, verse 41, all that go on their belly. So the Talmud in Kedushin says that the letter Nun is the middle of the letters of the Torah. And earlier on in the same Torah portion, where Moshe Rabbeinu is investigating the reason why a sacrifice was burnt, the Torah uses the words Darish Darash. Moshe Rabbeinu inquired insistently. So those two words, Darish Darash, the Talmud says in Kedushin, page 30, Talmud says that those two words are the middle of the words of the Torah. Those two words are the middle of the words of the Torah. Talmud says the original Torah scholars were called counters. They were called counters because they counted all the letters of the Torah. So that's where the middle of the words of the Torah. And the Kol Hilchot, all those who go crawl on their belly, that's the middle of the letters of the Torah. So the Talmud inquires about the middle of the letters of the Torah. Talmud says which side of the letters of the Torah is a letter Nun? Is letter Nun part of the first part of the Torah, or is it part of the second half of the Torah? And the Talmud says that we don't know. So the Talmud says, why can't we count? The Talmud answers that there's a certain system they use to count letters of the Torah, not only using the actual letters, but also looking at words that are full, words that are missing, meaning the word toldos, for example, the word chronicles. You spell that word with two letter vowels, spell it with only one, with zero. So they had a certain system of establishing what is considered a full word, not considered a full word, and how they determine, even when the letters weren't there, counting what letters should have been there, or letters that are there that shouldn't. They had a whole system they used to count letters of the Torah. We don't know the system anymore, and therefore we cannot determine whether the letter Nun is part of the first half of the Torah or part of the second half of the Torah. So let's try to understand why the inner reason for this. Why is it that we do know the reason for we do know the exact middle of the words of the Torah? We don't know the exact middle of the letters of the Torah. What is that? What's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of the fact that by divine providence we know the middle of the words, and by divine providence we don't know the exact middle of the letters? So to understand this, let's go to the Marsha. Marsha, Deborah Ashab once said about the Marsha, if we knew how holy the Marsha was, we would lick the dust from his coffin. So the Marsha, he explains this. He says that in Torah itself, you have the words of the Torah, and you also have the fact that you have the content of Torah. You also have the hidden holiness in Torah. The Talmud says that all of the words of the Torah are names of Hashem. Everything in the Torah is the name of Hashem. So he says when you're talking about words of Torah, in words of Torah, it's the words are, each word is giving us a message, giving us something that's meaningful. So it's not as much highlighted the idea of the holiness of the Torah versus the letters of the Torah. Letters have no content on their own. Each letter doesn't have a intellectual content. So the letters of the Torah are pointing at the hiddenness, the higher, what's concealed within the Torah. The words are conveying meaning. But the letters, they're conveying the nistar, the what's hidden within the Torah. So he says that the snake the Torah is referring to over here, what falls on its belly, is referring to the snake, and the snake is the cause for sin. And the antidote for the cause for sin is the holiness of the letter nun in the Torah. That word gachin, which that letter nun of that word, that long nun, that's what cuts off the effect of the snake. So that's what Marsha says. So to send a little bit deeper what he's saying, you have to know a little bit more about the belly, the snake going on its belly. There are actually two translations, both here and in the first mention of the snake in the Torah, about the word gochen. We have the translation of Rashi. We have the translation of the Aramaic translation of Onkelos. Rashi says, "What's the meaning of all that crawl on their belly?" Rashi says the word gochen doesn't mean belly. Gochen means to bend. That's what Rashi says here, and also um, in Bereshis, when Hashem tells the snake originally was able to walk on its feet. Hashem took away its feet; it can no longer walk on its feet, and now it's a crawl on its belly. So Rashi says over there, the snake now has to bend down and crawl on its belly. That's what Rashi translates the word Gachin. Gachin means to bend. However, Onkelos translates the word Gachin means stomach. It goes on its gachin. Gachin doesn't mean to bend. Gachin means stomach. That's also what it means in Bereshis. The Hashem says, "Al gachin chaselich." You should go on your gachin. Gachin means you should crawl on your belly. That's what Onkelos translates it over there as well. So he says gachin means to crawl on your belly, and Rashi says it means to bend. Now, both come to the same conclusion. You bend down and you crawl on your belly, but they come to it through different angles. If the translation of the word gachin means belly, or does the translation of the word gachin mean um, to bend down? What's the difference between them? Again, arriving at the same conclusion. Who cares how we got there? So let's understand what this means spiritually. Crawling on your belly means living life immersed and obsessed with physical things. You're crawling on your belly. You're moving on your stomach. What makes you move? What you're excited about? What you're obsessed with? What you're interested in is belly things. Interested in physical things, eating, drinking, exercising. You're going on. You're focused on on the physical. You're crawling on your belly. That's one way of living life. Another way of living life is you're not bent down on your belly. You're not into the physical. If you're bent on if you're crawling on your belly, and then you're going to be in the realm of the snake. You're in the realm of the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. If you're focused on the physical, then the Yetzer Hara has a lot to say to you. The previous Rebbe said the word Yetzer Hara means the evil painter. He paints all physical good as delicious and all spiritual good as boring. And so if you're going on your belly, if that's what you're preoccupied with, so then the Yetzer Hara's voice is overwhelming. Your I wants become I needs. And if you feel I need, it's not just like this talks about. So this talks about two kinds of issues. One is called Timtam Hamoyach. One is called Timtam Alev. One is called your mind being plugged up, and the other is your heart being plugged up. Your heart being plugged up, Reb Marash says, means that you say I want. Your mind being plugged up, Reb Marash says, it means you say to yourself, I need. What does that mean? There was the story. I don't know if the story is true or not, but I think the content is true. The Rabbi Rashab was once asked, his yeshiva in Lubavitch, they had a very high standard for which students they would accept, which students they wouldn't accept, and they would not accept students who do not grow their beards. So someone asked Rabbi Rashab, you accept students who say Lashon Hara, So Lashon Hara is a biblical prohibition. I don't know how he knew the students say Lashon Hara, but I guess it wasn't one of the requirements. So what that should be a requirement. You should make sure they don't speak Lashon Hara. That's a biblical prohibition. Growing a beard or not, there's different ways of looking at it, different opinions. So why is that not a requirement? So the story goes, as Rebbe Rashab answered, there's a difference between l'chatchila and b'diavad. L'chatchila and b'diavad means in halacha there's a concept called the way things are meant to be done in the best possible scenario, and then there is what's called passable. B'diavad means if you did it already, it's passable. So Rebbe Rashab said, according to this story, if when a person speaks lashon hara, it's something he doesn't decide to do. It's something that he got overwhelmed by his evil inclination at the moment, and he succumbed and he agreed to partake in scorning someone else for his own enjoyment. So his heart is not in the right place. He was overwhelmed by the evil inclination, and he listened to the evil inclination. His heart won him. His heart won. His animal, the animal soul, whose seat is in the heart of the person, as it says in Tanya, won that round. When a person shaves their beard, on the other hand, it's not necessarily the point that it's forbidden or not forbidden. The point is that the person is living their life. They wake up in the morning. They want to adjust themselves to the way they feel the world will respect them. They're starting off their day, and they're conforming with what the world has to say. They're living in a way that the world takes precedence on the Torah. They're not thinking um, about they're thinking about their lives in a way that leaves much to be desired. It's not just they're getting overwhelmed at the moment. They think differently about their lives. They have a different perspective about what they're meant to do in this world. So it sounds like the Ramarash, who says "I want" it indicates that there's blockage in your heart. "I need" is that there's blockage in the mind. You say "I want" and you do things that you want that you shouldn't be doing. Fine, that's one issue. And there is where you justify the things that you want and you say this is the way it's supposed to be. So when we are immersed in, we live our life on our belly, that indicates that either our heart is blocked up or our mind is blocked, depending on how immersed we are in earthy things, and then the evil inclination can get us. Versus if we're living off of our belly, which means we're immersed in holier things, higher things, then the Yitzhar doesn't have as much of a weight to us. The Yitzhar is called the old foolish king. Well, the old foolish king because it's the first one to enter the body. The Gali soul doesn't come in until Bar Mitzvah fully. So it's called the old king, and it's called the foolish king, and has a loud voice to us. It says a lot to us. The godly soul, on the other hand, is a soft voice. It's a soft voice, and you have to look for it if you want to hear it. So the more immersed you are in your belly, the less of a voice the Yitzhak has. So that's why the source of sin is going on your belly. Fine. But so that's why the Onkelos translates what the issue with the snake, it goes on its belly. The Talmud says, if the evil inclination meets you, what should you do with it? Bring it into the base medrash. Study Torah. That's what it says. So that's Onkelos understands this in the simple meaning. So get off your belly. Get involved in higher, holier things. Immerse yourself in Torah. Immerse yourself in deeper things. That's how Onkelos translates the antidote to the snake. But Rashi says something deeper. Rashi says, don't just not go on your belly. Don't lower your head. What does that mean? It's possible to study Torah, but not really to get what Torah is about. Not really to get the message of Torah. As we were studying the last couple of weeks, Torah is called Mashal Tarmei. Torah is really about the godliness in Torah. Torah is the wisdom and the will of Hashem. It's not just information. Torah is about godliness. Torah is about holiness. Torah is about the Hashem's essence. Torah is about connecting to Hashem. It's not just about the information. It's about the giver of the Torah. As the Rebbe Bachaye, the Bais Chodesh writes in his commentary on the Code of Jewish Law, it says in the Talmud, why was the temple destroyed? Talmud says because they did not say the blessing on the Torah before they studied the Torah. So the Bais Parsha explains it's not that they didn't say the blessing. They said the blessing. They didn't say the blessing. They said they weren't conscious of the giver of the Torah. It says in the Talmud, why was the temple destroyed? Of the Misterasi. They left my Torah. It wasn't they left the Torah, it's they left my Torah. So lowering your head means that you look at the Torah as an intellectual pursuit, as information, as guidance, as something that's meaningful, but you're not looking at it as you're not looking up to the Torah. Lifting your head, Rashi says, is a way that a Jewish position is meant to be in. Not just not be on your belly. You have to lift your head up to what's beyond you. Lift your eyes up to the sky. The Torah says, "Sumar menechem," lift your eyes up. Look in the Torah. Look up to the Torah. Realize the Torah is not just information. Look at what it really is about. When you learn Torah, you should feel the godliness in the Torah. You should feel that Hashem is talking to you. That there's Mount Sinai is happening when you study Torah. That Hashem is right now speaking to you, and you're now conversing with Hashem. That's what it's supposed to be when you study Torah. It's supposed to be some magic there. As it says in the Gemara, when Hashem gave us the Torah, we were trembling, we were sweating. Whenever you study Torah, it's supposed to be the same kind of thing. That's the Talmud. The Talmud's instructing us to drag the evil inclination to the synagogue, to the house of study, is not just to study the Torah, is to connect to the giver of the Torah, is to connect to Hashem himself. But if you're bending down, if looking at Torah just as an intellectual thing, you're lowering your head. Doesn't matter if you're on your belly or not. As long as you don't view what Torah is really about, it's possible that you could discard it, and even if you don't discard it, it doesn't have that same weight in your life as if you feel the godliness in Torah. The godliness in Torah, is a key ingredient for you to have the leverage to have control of your life and to be free and to be overcome the evil inclination. So this will help us understand the question you had before. Why is it that we do know the exact middle of the words of the Torah? We don't know the middle of the letters of the Torah. What's going on here? Parenthetically, there's a phenomenon that's more prevalent now, unfortunately, that teachers of Hebrew alphabet don't teach the Hebrew alphabet the way it always was taught. Hebrew alphabet was always taught with Kamis Aleph A. Teach the vowels, you teach the letters, and you teach a child that the before you teach them their pronunciation, teach them what their name is. And this is an Aleph, this is a base. And the modern view of departing from that regimen of study is that it's harder. Why do you make the kids have to know what an aleph is, what a base is? Just go straight to e. Instead of saying this is a comments. And a comments and an aleph is and a patach and aleph is a. Forget the comments, patach. Just go straight e. Don't teach them the names of the letters, the names of the vowels. That's a waste of time. So what's their logic? Their logic is in other languages, what's the focus of learning the letters? You want to know how to pronounce the words. You want to convey content. So in order to teach a child how to convey content, just get straight to the words. But that's not what the letters of the Torah are about. Letters of the Torah are themselves Torah. And when we learn letters of Torah, they're wholly unto themselves. When you learn an aleph, it's not just in order to be able to pronounce the words. You're learning aleph as an aleph is an aleph. That's already something. As the previous Rebbe said, that when Hashem gave us the Torah, he was like a school teacher. And he was teaching us Torah. And what's the first thing a school teacher teaches a child? Kametz aleph ah. So too, the very first word of giving the Torah was Nechi. So Hashem was giving us the inner meaning of what Torah is about. It's not just the words and the content of the words. It's about the holiness of Hashem, which is present and is seen more overtly in the letters of the Torah, which don't have yet a intellectual content. Externally, of course, the letters of the Torah also have intellectual content, but you see more intellectual content in words than you do in letters. Letters, like you look at letters, what does that mean? But still, it's the name of the letter. So the Rasha says this. There's the middle of the words of the Torah. Darash Darash is the middle of the words of the Torah. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu was investigating why was this sacrifice burnt? Why was this sacrifice eaten? There, the Moshe Rabbeinu is analyzing things, and there are two different sides of the coin. If you analyze things intellectually, then there are two different approaches. There is what is good, and there's what is bad. There's a positive, and there's a negative. As in the language of the Marsha, there's 49 reasons to say something is pure, 49 reasons to say something is impure. If you're viewing, if your center of gravity and understanding life is what makes sense, so then you may feel the nitty of a sin because it dirties your soul. You may feel the virtue of a mitzvah; it gives you something, and the more heinous the crime is, the more you want to disassociate from it. The more valuable the mitzvah is to you, the more you're attracted to the mitzvah. That's when you're approaching things from the words, from the intellect of Torah. But then there's something else. Then there is approaching the Torah not from the intellect of Torah, but approaching the letters of Torah. The left at the letter when you're approaching the letters of Torah, you're looking at really is not the intellect of Torah. You're looking at the Torah, the fact that you're looking at the fact that the Torah is the names of Hashem. Looking at the holiness of Torah. Looking at the giver of the Torah. So you're no longer interested in the value of what this mitzvah gives to me, what that sin may do to me. Instead, there's no middle. You're in the middle. You're in the middle. You don't know what side you're on. You don't know if this is. If it doesn't matter to you if this is about positive or negative. Instead, your focus is only on the giver of the Torah. You're not thinking about is this part of the positive, is it part of the negative? Is it a mitzvah? Is it a sin? Doesn't matter if it's a mitzvah. Just what does Hashem want me to do? If your focus is the words, if your focus is intellect, so then there's certainly a difference. Darish Darash. There's one half is about positive. Darash is the first Darash, and the second Darash. Why was this eaten? Why was this burnt? What is good about this? What's bad about that? What's good about a mitzvah? What's bad about a sin? That's if you're doing things intellectually. But the idea of looking at things from the perspective of the letters of Torah is looking at it instead from the essence of what Torah is, that the Torah is Hashem Himself. And looking at things from the perspective of the essence of Hashem doesn't matter what Hashem is asking you to do. It doesn't matter if it's positive, it's negative. You don't know. And that's why we don't know whether the letter Nun of Gachin is from the beginning of the Torah or the first half of the Torah, the end of that, the second half of the Torah. The true antidote to the snake is looking at the Torah from the perspective that there is no positive and negative. There is no. It's by looking at it. The true antidote is by feeling the godliness in Torah. It's feeling the connection to Hashem. And with that perspective, you're able to rise above the snake and to go where you're meant to go. Any questions, comments? Yeah. The world is assuming like that. Where you go? But in the brush and on, words you can speak it and prove, like and pull down on the ground. Call that same force.